So this is so sensitive, it can receive video signals from across the globe. So how sensitive, that's why you go to see a movie, you go to see a play, because you get enchanted by the magical experience. You become one with the roles, you become empathetic with the roles, with the film, with the story, with the characters, with the roles. So if I do not come from a larger space, then I am basically creating junk food. If I come from a wider, larger, non-judgmental space, then which you are...
So, sir, I would start with this lecture that you had today, or conversation that we had in this session. You mentioned something about feudalism in the industry, the classification of actors. How one should deal with that, and what do you mean by feudalism in the industry?
India had been a feudal country. There had been kings and almost all the countries in a way, and that's in our DNA. So patriarchy and feudalism, the castes, and then there's class and there's gender, always have been there. And how to deal with it is, first of all, one has to find, according to what I have been trying to practice, and quite often I fail, and I must confess that, that to have empathy for a feudal also. That because if I want to practice art, and the job of art, the role of art in a society is to have empathy for each and every point of view, each and every human being. And one feudal could be better than the other feudal also. No? The Akbar, and there is Aurangzeb. And there are Hindu kings, those who are torturers as well. Babur has killed thousands of people. Genghis Khan has killed millions of people. The Talibans.
Exactly.
So could be a better Taliban also, like you don't beat up so much. The policemen which are corrupt, but there are also less corrupt police. That he or she will not cross a particular boundary. So you cannot generalize. Putting people in boxes or categorizing them are the worst practices that we can do. It is the only act of a practitioner of art, that how is it possible for me to look at one truth from various perspectives and have equal respect for all of them, including the one who is a dictator. Because that dictator doesn't think I'm a dictator, he thinks I'm doing good. Hitler thought that he is right. And because of Hitler, Europe is civilized.
Yes,
the creation
that's a reaction for what
creation of United Nations happened because of Hitler. Before that, United Nations never existed. So civilization of Europe, the kind of human rights and women's rights and child right and all these concepts were not there in Europe before Hitler came in. They were killing each other, they were fighting. England was fighting against Germany, Germany was fighting England, and I saw this amazing, I forgot the name of the Netflix series, which is based in 4th century, 7th century AD. They were good old people. But then they saw that, oh my God, this is a downhill road. If we take, we'll become animals. So Hitler showed what could be the depth of the lowest depth of the humanity. And people didn't want to go there. No, this is what we don't want to become. So art's job is to bring people together, help them to live in harmony, help them to understand each other. So, feudal or no feudal?
Lately, we have seen some historical movies in Bollywood, or you might prefer the Indian cinema.
Yeah.
There are some narratives based on nationalism and generalized interpretations. For example, if I give reference to the case of Afghanistan, there has been a character called Alauddin Khilji, who was from Afghanistan and who came and had
to India,
And nowadays there is another movie called Panipat, which is again about an Afghan ruler, Ahmad Khan Abdali, which has become very controversial issue in Afghanistan, also in India. So what do you think about the depiction of historical figures like these, and how sensitive this can be?
Why are you talking about, I mean, yes, absolutely valid question, but imagine America. They save the world all the time.
Yes, this is a very common
like all
phrase
the
that
terrorists are from Arab countries or Muslims, and or before it became that, it was Russian. Those were Russians. All the Russian-speaking people are so bad. They are the villains, or the blacks were villains. So it is a normal tendency of every human being. I call it the dog instinct, but dogs are way better than, we've just seen a beautiful documentary, territorial instinct. And we suffer from that. It's the lowest instinct of a human being. And it's the instinct which helped people to survive at a certain point of time. It's called the fear. And we don't need it anymore. We should get out of that. And historical depiction of historical figure in Indian cinema, and unfortunately I didn't even see any of them, but I heard of them. And the people, those who have done those films, they are not historians in the first place. How much research they have done, I have no idea. Whether they are rightly depicting or wrongly depicting. But people, those who have attacked India, there would be, very, very naturally, in a way, that they would not be liked. If anybody has come to capture this part of the world, and especially Rajasthan, Haryana, Delhi, the northern India has faced right from Alexander in 300 BC. And we would not like those people, those who come from outside and try to control another territory. Like the Britishers came and looted India. The $1 trillion, economy was looted. They have taken some $1 trillion. I mean, they have evaluated recently. Shashi Tharoor has put to the point. So they become the villains, and it's easy to sell because it's very difficult to make a film, as I said, like Chaplin did, or a good film where you are showing, like I saw a film called Last Jar, long back, I think it's the War and Peace, that you empathize with the jars. Also, you empathize with the victims of the jars. Like we start empathizing with, and we understand why they're doing what they're doing. And we are no better. I can't claim that I'm better than you, because given an circumstance, I might behave like that as well. If I am pushed from all corners, I might show my cruelty. So when you live in a political boundary in a nation, and there is a market, and a particular country, or nowadays every country is a market economy, market society. So they have marketized and they have commodified this particular historical figure. It's easy to hate. And they made a film.
If the depiction is so black and white,
especially
in a society where people have no direct contact to history, they don't read, they are lazy.
So they believe in this.
So what would the consequences be like?
Not only about the historical figures, any film for that matter, if it is not well done, if it is not nuanced, if it doesn't talk about subtle aspect of human behavior, it becomes junk food. And we eat junk food, we become ill. And we hate the other easily. You drink Coke, I drink Pepsi. Coke is better than Pepsi, to that extent. Forget about another nation. I'm talking about in a family. Brothers, they hate each other. People kill their daughters, their sons in the name of honor, for God's sake. Not only in a Muslim society, in Hindu societies, near 40 kilometers from the capital city, daughters are being killed by their parents. So when the father is the perpetrator, so it gets contained in a family. But if a nation's ruler becomes that, it spreads in a nation. So it's not only about about one person. It's to do with each and every human being, how that person had been educated. And the consequences are far-reaching. That the division of Pakistan and India 70 years ago, 72 years ago, we are facing the consequences now. Some people would try to hate the Muslims, some people are trying to hate the Hindus. And if you go, I have seen all these amazing Indians, those who are in America, they have amazing Pakistani friends, laughing away to glory, having, going to each other's house. They don't hate each other there. But as soon as they come to India, maybe they will. So it is all motivated by a very, very selfish interest. And I hope that we rise above it. It's easy to blame the aliens, always. As I said, the Martians were the villains. The Russians are the villains in American films. And now the Muslims are the villains in American films. You know what I mean? It's human tendencies, lower human tendencies. Sri Aurobindo calls it, he's a great saint of India, he calls it the lower movements. And every human being has it. Maybe I will show the same in a certain circumstance. So,
thank you so much.
Pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
Pleasure.